All right, welcome to the press conference today. Just a quick introduction of who we got student-athlete-wise up here. Going from down over here, we got defensive lineman Blake Holden, defensive back Dennis Shorter, quarterback Aiden Bauman, and running back Travis Tice. And with that, we'll just kind of open it up to the media. We'll raise your hands, we'll point to you and get a microphone to you to ask the questions. And here we go.
Okay, we'll start with Aiden. How do you feel the offense performed today? Obviously, kind of nuts and bolts, getting things figured out, but how do you feel like it operated under the first string?
Yeah, I thought we did a pretty good job today. We've had we compete with a really good defense every single day. So, we're going to have to, we're always going to have to be physical, and we're going to have to execute our game plan to the best of our ability. And, we did a good job of it today, but, each day we're just trying to build and get better.
Aiden, I'll start with you. Last year it felt like the team chemistry of this group really went to a different level. How has that continued to evolve this summer and into fall camp?
Yeah, we're working out with each other every single day. We're grinding every single day. We got captain's practice. I just said this the other day, but, one of the big things is being together outside of football because, obviously we all go through the hardships together, but, you build your chemistry outside of it, and I feel like we've done a really good job of that. This off-season getting together with guys and just, getting to know them, where they're from, what they've been through, what their life story is, and, whether it's, starters or third strings, anybody, we're just trying to become closer-knit as a team, and I think we've done a good job of that.
Dennis, how about the defense? How, a lot of people can look at this team and say, man, we lost a lot of guys on that defensive unit, and some new guys are filling into those spots. How has this group come together defensively as a unit?
Yeah, like Aiden said, we've been together all summer, working real hard and everything. And we know we got young guys. They got bigger roles to fill now, but we're pretty confident. We're just taking it day by day.
Travis, how important is it for you to have some continuity after last year? You and Aiden are both back in the backfield, and how are you expecting to kind of build off of last year?
Take it day by day, try to get better every day. I think it's early in camp, but we're building that continuity right now, so I'm doing a good job.
Blake, you guys have an awful lot of seniors on this team, a lot of experience, and if you look the last few years within FCS football, the teams that have been really successful have been those teams that have had those 5th and 6th year seniors. Are you guys pretty confident or optimistic that can be a big part of building on the success you had last year?
Yeah, we're super optimistic about it. Like you said, a lot of the more successful teams in the FCS have had, a lot of 6th, 5th, and 4th year guys, and that's something that we have right now, and just building that confidence in the young guys too to help the older guys out too. And I think we've done a good job all summer of believing what we can do, and that's our goal is to go get it done this year. So.
Yeah, Aiden, how do you guys plan to stay focused game by game with some higher anticipated matchups with Wisconsin and NDSU this season?
Yeah, I always say you can't make it bigger than it is. It's just, I like to say practice with fans is all it is. So every single day you have to treat practice just like a game situation. You just have to go out and execute the game plan that's provided for you that game, and that's just what we're going to do.
Travis, you've got so many returning pieces in that running back room. I guess what's it like to have all those guys back, and what are you guys trying to accomplish before the beginning of the season?
It's a lot of fun. We want to rush for a lot of yards, I know that, so we'll do that. But it's a lot of fun competing with those guys, playing with those guys. Next man up, anybody can do it, so it's good.
Aiden, a lot of guys talk about making a jump from year to year. For you, in year 2 at the helm of this offense, just what does a year 2 jump look like for you?
Yeah, it's, decision making, making sure that I'm getting the ball to the guys that can make the plays out there. Ultimately that's my position, and that's all I have to do, really just do my job, get the ball to the guys that can make plays, and I can just every single day get better at that, whether it's making the right reads, making the right decisions, just anything like that. That's my job, and that's where I can get better at.
For either of the two guys on the defensive side of the ball, you ranked in the top handful of teams last year defensively. What does this year's defense look like?
kind of like we talked about before, we lost a lot of guys last year, but I mean we're up now and kind of over it. I mean the guys that are replacing those guys have done a really good job of learning the defense and executing it at a high level, filling roles and then in our DB room and in our front line, we've got some experience there and some older guys there, and so kind of the leadership shift of it has helped those guys come in easier and perform really well. So yeah.
Sticking over there with Blake, as a defensive lineman in a situation like today, how do you kind of set the tone with nastiness, but like against your own teammates? Because obviously you want to play physical, you want to get them game ready, but obviously you don't want to push limits. Kind of how do you balance the physical nature of the game there?
I mean, we're pushing the limits. I mean, we're all buddies, we're brothers outside of football, but once we're on that field, it's 11 versus 11. It's the guys in the white against the guys in the red and black, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, the offense does a great job. The offensive line especially does a great job of pushing us. Like they're nasty. That's what they want to build. They're how they are. That's who they are. They want to be nasty O-line that can move people off the rock, and we want to be able to not create knockback and create TFL. So I mean, it's kind of that other level of thinking. Like these guys are my teammates, but job's got to get done. So however you got to do it. Just got to do it, and they know that on the other side of the ball too.
Dennis, Miles Hardman left a pretty big hole in that secondary in not only play but leadership as well. How have you tried to step up into that leadership as well, and who are some of the other guys that have stepped up?
We got a lot of vets in the room, so Josiah Gaines and me, we just took on the responsibility to be take young guys under and build their trust. Timothy White, Caleb McKenzie, those young guys coming along real well, and we got a few transfers that's building in the family.
With him going to the NFL, do you think you can follow in his footsteps in that sense?
Yeah, it's he opened the gate for a lot of us. You just got to take it one step at a time. Can't rush the process.
For the guys on the defense, how much does hearing about, maybe what you guys have lost, the talent that you guys have lost, how much does that motivate you coming into this season?
It motivates us a lot, because even though we lost a lot of good guys, we got young guys that's just as good as them too. So, we're just taking it one day at a time, practicing real hard, and we all building the bond together.
It's almost like creating a chip on our shoulder almost because, I mean, people think we've lost a lot, but in all reality, we're just gaining to what we've already done in 23. Is what we're doing more in 24, with what we've got, but we're just gaining out 23.
Blake, Mikey's Grace is somebody we've heard a lot of this offseason. What have you seen from him from last season coming into fall camp, and where do you think he can take his next big step?
Yeah, I mean, he made the switch to, rush this year, and I think that's going to be good for him because he's a fast, physical kid. I mean, super young, but he understands the game well. He's got a high IQ for the game, and, I mean, his athletic talents are off the charts. I mean, I lifted with him all winter. Me and him were pushing each other, you could say. But, next steps, I mean, shoot, he's done a lot already for this team, and he's going to do a lot more. And, yeah, he's just a good kid and goes and gets things done the way they need to be done. So.
Aiden, talk about the offensive line. Obviously, a lot of guys back, a lot of experience, a couple of new pieces in there. How has that group come together? Pretty important piece of your offense. Yeah. So talk about those guys up front.
No, for sure. They've done a great job. Like Blake said, they're trying to be nasty. They're pushing themselves every single day. We got shoes to fill with Irby. He's a great piece for us last season. But we got guys in there. We got Jordan Larson. We got Adrian Hawkins. All those guys. They've done a really good job. And obviously Joey Lombard is leading them, and he's doing a really good job of keeping their head on straight, because obviously you saw today sometimes it doesn't happen like that. But, they've been pushing themselves really hard, and really excited to see how they're going to be this year.
This is for Travis and Aiden. Year two in this offense. What's the biggest difference? What's the biggest area of growth that you've seen from last year to this year, and then what's the biggest difference?
I mean, like we've been talking about, the O-line's going to play nasty this year. Something we take pride in, something they're going to do.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just knowing the offense like the back of our hand. We got a lot of, like we said earlier, got a lot of veterans on this team. We've been in this system now 2 years. It's got to be second nature for us, and we're getting to that point where it is. And once you get that knowledge, the playing is easy. You don't have to think out there. You just play ball and have fun.
All right. With that, we'll end the student-athlete portion and transition into head coach Bob Nielsen. Thanks, guys. Now we had head coach Bob Nielsen entering his 9th season at the helm at USD and his 32nd overall as a head coach. And we'll start with opening comments from Coach Nielsen, and then again open it up to questions to members of the media.
32 sounds like a big number to me. I don't know. Makes me feel old a little bit, I guess. But I tell you, when I'm out there on the field with those guys, particularly this group, you feel young. It's a great group of young men. You just heard from 4 of them. A group that accomplished a lot last year as a football team, but left the field in that playoff game against North Dakota State without a feeling of accomplishment. And I think that's a good thing. There's more to be done, and that's what this group has set its sights on. Set its sights on a desire to get to the top, and know we've got work to do. Did a good job over the winter, good job in the spring, had a good summer together, and we've hit fall camp off and running. I think the 2 things that I can sense in this group that makes it a team that I think has a chance to be really good is they're a team that has a great deal of maturity, a great deal of confidence. We've got the biggest senior group I've had in my 9 years here. You kind of get that 2 classes of seniors with the last of the COVID cycle seniors, and then kind of your normal 5th-year senior group, and it's a team that's deep in leadership as a result of that. And you got to hear from 4 of our captains today. I could bring another 30 guys up here, and you're going to hear the same message from them. That's the kind of football team that we have right now from a leadership standpoint. Obviously, we got a challenging schedule ahead of us with 12-game year, which is great to have. It's great for our fans to have 6 home games again for the 2nd year in a row. The Valley, that's going to be, again, the best league in all of FCS football, and you add to that a game against a Big Ten power in Wisconsin. And so our guys know the challenge that's ahead of them and are focused on, as you heard multiple times from them, getting better every day and being the best football team we can be here on August 29th. I'll say a little bit about each of the position groups and then open it up for questions. For the first time, offensively, we probably we're a more experienced football team than we are defensively, and it starts in the quarterback room with Aiden Bauman. Aiden now entering his 2nd year as a full-time starter. Has got a number of starts under his belt. The thing that's different for us with him is we're going to put a little bit more on his plate in terms of being able to make decisions at the line of scrimmage, and in so doing, hopefully make us an even more efficient offensive football team than we were a year ago. He's backed up by Jared Sinnott. Jared entered our program a year ago. from the University of Nebraska, along with Nevin Kremiskoli, who transferred this summer from Northern Illinois. So a couple of transfer guys that have been developing in our system here and will continue to develop in our system. The running back room, we turned two guys in that room that I think are potentially all-conference type players, and Travis Tice and Charles Pierre, who I think gave fans a glimpse of how good he can be last year. But there's some other depth in that room with Keandre Jones, who's a little bitty guy like his dad, but is lightning like his dad too, and has made some big plays for us. We have some additional depth there with L.J. Phillips, who you got a chance to see late in the year as part of that 4-game redshirt rule, and we did add a transfer to that group, Garrett Kuhn from Montana State, that I think you'll have a chance to see on the field some as well. At the wide receiver position, that group's led by Carter Bell. Carter, a guy that has the ability to be an all-conference player and has demonstrated that. Jack Martin's another guy that's played a lot of football for us. The rest of that room, I think you're going to see a little bit of committee by committee with bigger-bodied guys like Tristan Mishaw, Javion Phelps, who's back healthy. Javion played quite a bit 2 years ago, not as much last year due to injuries. Q Adams, another transfer from Iowa State, a guy that brings a lot of speed to the slot, a guy that has had a really good first few days in fall camp. And then there's a couple of other younger guys there in that group that we feel really good about as well that they'll develop. Tight end, J.J. Galbraith, I think has, again, one of those guys that has the ability to be an all-conference tight end in our league, which says a lot because of the quality of tight ends in this league. Different type of athlete than the normal tight end, a guy that can stretch the field, is great with the ball in his hands, has become a better blocker, and then turned himself into a complete player there, and a guy we'll lean on a lot this year as a featured part of our offense. Zach Woody from Sioux Falls had a good spring. In our offensive scheme, use more tight ends now. Lots of times we got two on the field at a time. Jack Hagee and another transfer, Hayden Erickson from Utah, both did not practice today. We hope to have them back here within a week practicing. Jack played a lot for us last year, and we think Hayden will add another big body to that room as well. Up front, a lot of experience. Joey Lombard at center. And if you have a good center, I think that's really a key, offensively. Those are the guys that have to communicate, make the front calls, and Joey's outstanding at that. The two tackles that we have, Bryce Henderson and Joe Cotton from Sioux Falls, both a lot of ability. Big guys that can move their feet, which is what you want up front in the O-line. And then two other guys that started a lot of games for us, Caden Ellenson from T and Sam Coles from Sioux Falls. So really when you look at that group, we've got 5 returning starters, and then two other guys that have really improved, and then one other guy that's really improved, Jordan Larson from Harrisburg. He's in a battle to be a starter. And then we added a transfer there, Adrian Hawkins from Monmouth University out in New Jersey. Adrian, experienced guy, was a starter for them. A guy that's going to add significant depth and ability to that room as well. We lose 3 All-Americans on defense, and in my opinion, really lost a 4th All-American, even though Stephen Hillis, didn't make as many of the All-American teams as Brock and Miles and Brendan Webb. So we do. We've got some holes to fill there. But as Blake and Dennis said, we've got some returning talent, particularly up front and in the secondary. Blake Holden poised to have an outstanding year. along with Nick Gaze, the kind of guy that can be an all-conference player as well, has played a lot of football for us. Add to that Masai Newsome, who played at a high level last year for us up front. But we've got some more depth there, and probably as deep a group as we've had up front in the D line. A couple of transfers: Connor Morgan, transfer defensive tackle from Cornell; Carter Hooper, transfer defensive end from University of Connecticut; and then Bradley McGannon, a transfer from University of Washington. We're going to add some additional depth to that front group. Along with Will Dunn and Tayton Lowhouse that return in that group. So you could see us playing, 6, 7 guys at that position group, which, that's one of the things that good football teams have. They have depth up front. At that outside linebacker position, Mike Heath Grace is a guy that can play defensive end, but we've moved him out there. I think it really allows him to utilize his skill set similar to what we did with Brendan Webb a year ago, and you all know the kind of year that he had for us. And 2 guys behind him, Jonathan Bunce, transfer from St. Thomas University, that gave us fits when they played us last year, and now he's playing for us. Along with Niall Dickles. So we've got a lot of depth at that position. In the back end, at defensive back, Dennis Shorter, JoJo Gaines, very experienced pair of safeties. Dennis mentioned Tim White, a guy that played a lot for us last year, gives us some additional depth there, along with Clayton Denker and Roman Tillman, a young guy that's really developed over his first year. And then at corner, Shahid Barros, it's no secret Shahid got hurt in the playoff game against Sac State. He's trending back to be back here for the first part of the season. So to have, his experience back at corner will be extremely valuable. A guy that played at an exceptionally high level for us last year. But we've also added to that room 2 transfers. Mike Reed, also from Monmouth University. Mike has been I don't want to say a surprise, but Mike has really hit the ground running. He's going to be a high-level player for us at that position. And then Marquis Lowry from Michigan State University, another transfer that's going to add depth there, along with Caleb McKenzie and Dominic Reeves, 2 guys that played a lot. And then from a specialist standpoint, we've got 2 all-conference caliber specialists returning. Will Leyland, who couldn't do much better than he did last year. We'll just try to keep his streak going, 100% on all his field goals and point after touchdowns. And Tyler Ebel, I think, can really be a secret weapon for us as a punter this year. Was a little bit inconsistent last year, but has really worked hard in the offseason. And I really feel he's got the chance to be one of the best punters in the conference this year moving forward. And so as you can see, we've got a nice blend of returning players across the board positionally. Oh, I should go back to linebacker position, because if I don't, you're going to ask me about that. With 2 first-team all-conference caliber guys gone there with Mogensen and Hillis. Gary Bryant, a young guy that has been on the field for us, has really developed nicely. We have a transfer there by the name of Nate Ewell that had an outstanding spring for us. We think he's going to be an impact player for us, along with Wade Abrams, a transfer from Valparaiso University, along with Gabe Hardman, a freshman from last year that played. We used in the not just in the 4 games, but actually used a year of eligibility. Played enough that we used a year of eligibility with him last year. So those guys had good springs, feel comfortable with their development, but that will be a big priority for us to continue to have those guys move forward over preseason camp. just closing, it's the way college football is, right now. The way the transfer portal is, you got to use that to your advantage. I think we've done that, where we've got a great base of returning players with experience. We've sprinkled in some transfers that are outstanding young men that are going to add to our program, and now it's full speed ahead here through the rest of fall camp. But an exciting group to work with, and can't wait for the 29th to get here.
Bob, with that experience we've been talking about, have you seen in practice that has made an impact as far as maybe being able to hit the ground running a little bit more? Are there fewer mistakes? How do you see that experience that you have impacting your team now and throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of certainly experience, but preseason camp is so much different than it used to be because of summer and summer access and the amount of time that you get. But honestly, we probably started further ahead this year than we did a year ago even, just because we've got experience back at every level. You always, make sure that you're not working too fast ahead, because we do have a couple of position groups where we're bringing some guys along, but we're 1 week into camp, and I feel really good about where we're at. You were out there at practice today, and most of the practice was working specific situations today, whether it was red zone work or some timing end of game situations, which is going to be a big emphasis for us here the rest of the way out.
Coach, you brought up a number of transfers. How important is that to kind of keep that moving and add some experience that could contribute right away? And I talked to a couple of the O-linemen out there, and they brought up that you brought in more transfers than you lost. So how can that be kind of a point of pride for this program, that it's still a destination for even current players?
Yeah. Well, we want to be a program that develops guys. And I think if you're doing that, the guys that are in your program are going to feel good about their experience, and they're going to stay. And certainly that's been the case. I mean, we had a few guys that just opted to go other places. And so we're going to use the transfer portal in a way that benefits our team by finding the gaps at positions where we need a little bit more experience. And while we're continuing to develop the younger people that are in our programs. And I think we did a good job of that. I think between the transfer group that we brought in January and the group that we brought in for the summer, I think we've got about a dozen guys that we've added to the roster, along with our freshman class. To me, that's the way the transfer portal should be. And I think that's the way you develop an outstanding program, is by developing guys within your program, sprinkling some transfers in, as opposed to some of these, wholesale changes. That might get you a good team. I don't know if it gets you a good program or not.
Yeah, Coach, from what you've seen, how well have the transfers meshed with the existing team's culture and chemistry?
Yeah, I think outstandingly. You look at the transfers that we've added to our program over the last couple of years, guys like Mo Newsome on the defensive side, just outstanding people that have come in and not just been good players, but they've been good leaders in our program. And it's the same with the group that we brought in. And part of that is our staff doing a good job recruiting, making sure that, when we take a transfer, we know they're going to be a great fit, both from somebody that's going to benefit our program and also somebody that's going to, fit within the culture that we've developed here. And so I think it's a combination of us making sure we've done our homework and the fact that, that by doing that, we're getting the right guys.
Coach, you heard some of the defensive players say that they've been motivated by everyone talking about what you guys have lost on that end. Is that something that you've noticed this far in camp?
Yeah, I think what it does is it's challenged some of our our returning guys to take that next step forward from a leadership standpoint. You see that in Dennis Shorter, and Dennis, not that Dennis wasn't a great leader last year, which he was, but he's even taken more responsibility this year. Guys like Blake Holden, that, taking more ownership for, hey, we're gonna show everybody that we're every bit as good a defensive football team, if not better, than we were a year ago. It's kind of I think that's the thing that throughout our program, we've got that thing going right now where, hey, everybody wants to be better. They know we need to be better to win a national championship, to win a championship. And that's everybody's focus, whether it's offense, defense, kicking game. We got to be better, and we're going to be better.
Coach, we've had a lot of talk about chemistry and culture, and some of that helps when you have a lot of returning staff members. Your coordinators are back. A lot of these guys are back for year 2 or more. Obviously, a couple of changes, but how has this staff continued to evolve for another year to take this thing a step further than a year ago?
Yeah, I've got a great staff. First of all, our coordinators, Travis Johansson, Josh Davis, doing a great job of leading their sides of the football. And one of the things that, our staff does a really good job of, they do a really good job working together and understanding that you don't win in this league unless you're really playing complementary football, where each side's got to play off each other. Most of our team objectives are related to complementary football, that defensively we're doing this and offensively we're doing this in the same objective area. And that's you see that in the way our guys play, I think, and their understanding of what's important to winning football.
With so many different styles of play in that running back room, have you guys thought about implementing even more creativity, using their talents to do something even different than what you did last year, especially with that year under Coach Davis's system?
Yeah, you're going to see more and more of personnel groups where you're going to get more than one of those guys on the field at the same time. It's all about finding ways to utilize your best skill players most effectively, and you saw some of that today in practice. Those are packages that we're going to continue to build on. There are different, Travis is a different type of runner than Charles. Keandre's a different type of runner. But there's some, great ways that we'll find to utilize them and their skill sets that can make us a more explosive offense.
Coach, I got to ask you about the new turf. Obviously, it's a fresh look. It's very bright, very spongy if you walk on it. How has that changed? I mean, you just looking at it, the look of the Dakota Dome, number one, and how important is that upgrade for playing purposes?
Yeah, well, you're wearing sunglasses inside now because of the. It's a little bit of a different feel. We practiced on it for the first time 2 days ago. Little softer surface, probably a little bit more forgiving on our guys as a result. But I think it's just one of those things that shows the commitment of the university here to championship level Division I football. The investment, the new surface. I don't know if you noticed some of the subtle things, but turf that literally goes wall to wall compared to what we had before. And the safety factor for our guys, the ability for us to more functionally practice as a result of having a larger turf surface in here. And certainly, a surface that from a fan perspective, they're going to come in and another upgrade to the dome and creating that tremendous home field advantage for us.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned that feeling after the NDSU playoff game. How do you plan to keep the group level-headed and not overlook games until the regular season finale?
I don't think that's going to be a problem when you've got non-league games like we do. You know, certainly a home opener that's going to be a special kind of home opener, regardless of the opponent that we're playing. To play a Thursday night game, you know, something that, from my understanding, we just haven't done here. You know, a Thursday night opener. I think that'll be a special. Special experience for our guys and for our fans. And then we've got, 2 tough road games. You go up and play Wisconsin. I've had the good fortune or bad fortune, whichever you want to say, of coaching a game in Camp Randall when I was at Western Illinois. And, you know, that's going to be as hostile environment for our guys and certainly a great challenge. You know, a trip out to Portland State to play a very good team out of the Big Sky, which those games have tremendous meaning from a playoff standpoint when you're playing those leagues. So I think we've got the kind of schedule that sets us up well. It's a non-conference schedule where we're going to play some quality opponents. We got a chance to gather some momentum with 2 non-conference games at home. And be ready to hit the ground running when the Valley schedule kicks off.
Coach, last season your defense helped you win a lot of games, while I felt like your offense took a while to get going. Just what improvements do you hope to see on the offensive side in year 2 with Josh Davis?
Yeah, I think offensively, the ability to put some more points on the board, with the experience that we have. We played very efficient offense last year. Are we capable of being more explosive? That's probably the next step for us, to be a little bit more explosive. But obviously the goal to put put more points on the board, take advantage of every scoring opportunity that we can generate. That's what you have to do in the league while you're playing great defense. That's how you win in this league. You know, you play great defense and you take advantage of every scoring opportunity that you have to put points on the board. One thing you learn being in this league, if you're gonna win the league, you got to win close games. You got to win close games because you're going to have a lot of close games in this league. And the way you do that gets back to that complementary football, being great in the kicking game, making sure you're taking care of the football from an offensive standpoint, not turning it over, doing a good job playing field position, and from a scoring standpoint, putting points on the board when you have the opportunities to do that. Great. Appreciate everybody coming out, and we'll see you on the 29th, if not before.